how much Republicans or dumbasses online claim is directly associated with your sex, it's biology. It is a social construct. It is what you wear. It is how you present yourself. It is how you carry yourself. And of course, for that reason, we don't, do penis checks or pussy checks before we have normal interactions with other people in the real world. We just assume, okay, this person is a woman. Okay, gender is performative. It is a performance. But this misunderstanding has caused many people to behave in ridiculous ways. And of course, passing is not the end all be all. For those of you who say, oh, well, it's, you're just only talking about people who pass or whatever. It's just that it is a very good entry point into the conversation for many people. Okay. For the average transphobic person, it's a really solid entry point into the conversation. Okay. Because it bricks their brain in the opposite direction. When you show them someone like Hunter Schafer, and then you're like, you have to call this person a man now. They go, what are you saying? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That is why I talk about it from this perspective. It's an entry point. It's not the end all be all before people go crazy over it. Anyway, let's take a look.
And as a result of this, which I wrote down because I want to get it right, the Bureau of Consular Affairs has frozen passport applications requesting a gender marker change or renewals or new applications with a gender marker differing from an applicant's gender assigned at birth. So my initial reaction to this, because our president is a lot of talk, was like, I'll believe it when I see it. And today I saw it on my new passport.
Like, this is such a insane thing to do. What absolute insanity. Hunter Schafer's from New Jersey, and she still hasn't been on the broadcast. We have touched the same soil. I mean, what more? What more has to happen here? Okay, that's what it says on my passport too. Mine says New Jersey, USA as well. Okay, I'm just saying.
Male. So now to specify, my gender markers were first changed in my teens when I first got my driver's license, and then passports following. All have been female since then. Hasn't really been a problem. However, last year when I was filming in Barcelona, our car got broken into and my bag got stolen, and inside of that was my passport, which was supposed to last me up until my 30s.
I'm confused. While perverse enough, I thought the executive order simply said that there were two genders, not that someone who was once one sex and has become another cannot stay that gender. Anytime someone says anything about gender in the opposite direction as the wokes, they just mean like they want to shit on trans people. Just like when people talk about fairness in sports, they don't actually care about fairness in women's sports. They just don't want trans people to exist. And this is a permissible way to say trans people. That's it. I've tried to explain this to people over and over again. Some people might genuinely think this conversation is actually about fairness in sports. Like, they might have actually been lost in the sauce. There are plenty of people like that. Okay, plenty of people think, on the one hand, trans people are unfairly discriminated against, and secondly, they should be nowhere near any athletic endeavor. That is real. That's a real person. That is the average American person, the median position. Having said that, the conversation was started specifically on the boundaries of finding new ways to say trans people should be eradicated from public existence. That's it. And that is precisely what's going on here as well. They'll say, oh, only two genders. Come on, that makes sense. And then they'll turn around and go, also, if you are a trans woman, you're going to have male on your passport. If you are a trans man, you're going to have female on your passport. Doesn't make sense. It's about trans women specifically. Trans men are still allowed in men's sports. Yeah, but it's also just simply trans women participating in sports is not about fairness in sports, okay? That's just a way to traffic this issue in a way that is permissible and dare I say popular in broader public opinion. It's just about saying trans people are weird, gross, and immoral and shouldn't exist. That's it. That is the entire purpose of it. Yes. Obviously, people like Hunter break the brains of many average Americans due to the fact that not only do they pass, but also are insanely pretty. But beyond that, trans men also, in a similar vein, break Americans' brains. Like they can't comprehend it. They can't understand it. It's still, like I said, an entry point into the conversation for many people who are just like oblivious to how these things work. But ultimately, all of the legislation or executive actions that push for this kind of thing are not actually done on the real boundaries that they're talking about. It's not about like making sure that everybody only has like one or two, making sure that everybody's either a male or a female. Like that's not it. It's just being transphobic and trying to legislate away trans people. That's all it is.
So I got an emergency passport, which was very simple at the time. It's basically just a copy of my old passport, but temporary and only supposed to be used within the year. So as soon as I got back to the States, I had to get this fixed and get it replaced with a real proper passport, which I went to Federal Passport Agency today in LA and did. I've had to do this one time before. No part of the process was different. I filled everything out just like I normally would. I put female, and when it was picked up today and I opened it up, they had changed the marker to male. And I'm not making this post to fearmonger or to create like drama or receive consolation. I don't need it, but I do think it's worth posting to sort of note the reality of the situation and that it is actually happening. And I was shocked. Because I don't know. I just didn't think it was actually going to happen. And like, I want to acknowledge my privilege, like not only as a like famous or like celebrity trans woman who is white and thin, and
also for the record, like I think the point here is like, at least from where I'm standing, like if it happens to her, which of course it was going to happen to her, because she is trans at the end of the day, it can have like, think about how much harder it is for the average trans person who also doesn't have the same finances that she has or didn't have understanding parents early on that were obviously super woke and allowed her to take hormone blockers initially, like puberty blockers initially, or some trans people that don't want to completely pass. Like there's a variety of different factors here at play, and it is infinitely harder for everybody else. That's why I think it's important for public figures like this to actively come out and speak on their experiences.
Can adhere to like contemporary beauty standards, and I can participate in all of that, and I pass, and it still happened. Yeah, I never had my birth certificate changed, so this has led me to believe that I think the agencies who are in charge of passports and this sort of thing are now required to cross-reference birth certificates, or I don't know exactly what or what changed as far as the processing goes, but
yes, they put an M on her passport. It's unnecessarily complicated. There is literally no reason to do this. Like whenever I think about any sort of government decision, the good is supposed to outweigh the bad, right? The good is supposed to outweigh the bad. Like that's how it's supposed to work, because any matter of rules and restrictions and regulations actually end up restricting restricting to a certain degree people's freedoms, but it's appropriate and understandable when it is for the greater good. That is at the heart of how we legislate. That is at the heart of why we make certain decisions. And you're supposed to democratically vote on the government to make these kinds of decisions and yada, yada, yada. But this kind of action is not even remotely good. Like, what are the benefits? What are the benefits other than if you're a transphobic person, you're like, hell yeah, we're owning them. Hell yeah, we're dominating them. You know what I mean? I guess that's it. That's the only thing that